Welcome to St James's Park as Newcastle United face Chelsea in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. This game, of course, comes just 3 days after these two went toe-to-toe in the Premier League, with Chelsea winning 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. The big news for Newcastle is that Anthony Gordon is fit to start. The wait for a trophy, though, at St James's Park goes on. 1969, the last time that Newcastle lifted major silverware. But it's a big night as well for Chelsea and Enzo Maresca as they look to pick up the season's first piece of domestic silverware. So welcome to St James's Park for one of the standout ties of the round, where the longing for a trophy and a taste of glory is tangible. Big names will fall in the Carabao Cup tonight. Which one of these two will be in the draw later this evening, with a place in the quarter-finals, having taken a step closer to the season's first domestic silverware and a trip to Wembley. How Newcastle could do with a shot in the arm for their season. A win tonight and it might just provide the season-changing spark sought on Tyneside. It has been far from the ideal start for Eddie Howe's side, who are without a victory in their last 5 Premier League games. Victories over Nottingham Forest and Wimbledon, though, setting up tonight's visit of Chelsea, who knocked Newcastle out of this competition last season at the quarter-final stage. Pochettino in charge then, Enzo Maresca in charge now, and it has been a positive start to his tenure. 5th in the Premier League and just 1 defeat in their last 9 games in all competitions. Chelsea 5 times winners of this competition, haven't lifted it since 2015. So a big night at St James's Park. Darren Ambrose alongside me this evening. A real test, but also a real opportunity tonight for Newcastle against the Chelsea side not at full strength.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, look, this is a game that I'm really looking forward to. As you said, it's been a great start by Chelsea in the league campaign. And this is a real opportunity for my former club, Newcastle United. And let me tell you, I've played for them as a former player. A trophy will mean absolutely everything for this fan base, for this support. You can already see it now, what it's like. The atmosphere is going to be tremendous. It's going to be a tough task, but 11 changes for Chelsea. This is a real opportunity for Newcastle.
So many near misses witnessed by generations of Newcastle fans now, who feel their time for a trophy has to come sooner rather than later. Victory would take them tonight to just 2 games away from a return to Wembley, where they lost the Carabao Cup final 2 seasons ago. I think it's fair to say we've not yet seen Newcastle hit top gear this season.
No, we haven't, no, but it is inconsistent at the moment, and Eddie Howe knows that, and he speaks about that quite often, how he needs to probably change that consistency and change the form to compete with the top teams in the division. They've done it, didn't they, when they made the Champions League? They got in that top 4, and it didn't quite work out last season, but look, let me tell you, they would come anywhere in the league, this fan base, to get their hands on a trophy. It's been far too long for a club, and the pressures you have and you feel as a player up there to try and deliver for this fan base, and you just want it to happen. You know, whatever means necessary. I think this football club deserves a trophy, but as I said, it's a tough task to get through a Chelsea team of 11 players that have changed, that are trying to break into that Premier League side. They're going to want to be impressing Enzo Maresca as well, so I'm expecting a good competitive match tonight.
Well, as for Chelsea, as you say, it's been some start for Enzo Maresca, who domestically has only been beaten so far by the Premier League's top 2 this season. The Premier League's youngest team by some distance, and as you say, it is a chance tonight for some of the Premier League's deepest squad players on the fringe of that first team to step up and really show Enzo Maresca they deserve a bit more time on the pitch.
Well, they have to, and that's what this opportunity for them in the League Cup, in a big game away at St James's Park, where there's going to be the pressures on Newcastle to get a result. They need to try and come up with an idea, come up with a game plan. Look, these are not young players that are not used to occasions like this, so this is an opportunity to break into that top 11 and for Enzo Maresca to really look and see what he's got on the sidelines at the moment.
St James's Park at full voice on a night Newcastle United hope to take down 5 times Carabao Cup champions Chelsea, who beat them in the quarter-finals last season and who beat them just 3 days ago in the Premier League. Good night for Eddie Howe. Love to end this wait for a trophy here on Tyneside. Can his team tonight rise to the challenge of Chelsea, provide a night which might just give them the takeoff to their season that they've been searching for? Enzo Maresca, though, has eyes on leading Chelsea to glory and getting his hands on the season's first domestic silverware. What a statement that would be as Chelsea seek their first trophy since Topoli's takeover of the club. So let's take a look at the teams here tonight. Eddie Howe makes 5 changes from the side beaten at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. Into the team come Emil Kraft, Lloyd Kelly, Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock, and a big boost with the surprise news that Anthony Gordon is fit to start after he suffered a groin injury on Saturday, which ruled him out of the Premier League meeting between the sides on Sunday. Huge boost for Newcastle to have Anthony Gordon in the side tonight. Everybody seems to know just how long he would be out for, but his recovery has been quick and he's in from the off. The luxury of rotation for Enzo Maresca, who names an entirely different starting 11 to the one which began on Sunday. Philip Jorgensen, Chelsea's cup keeper, starts in goal. Cucurella and Enzo Fernandez amongst those brought back into the starting lineup, as is Christopher Nkunku, who's the only Chelsea player to have featured in every game so far this season. A few options on the bench as well, including Cole Palmer, who sparkled once again on Sunday. But a big night tonight, perhaps for Mykhailo Mudryk.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I think you look at Mudryk, £88 million he signed for Chelsea. I think he's been a bit part player, and I think it's a real opportunity for him now to stamp his marks, show Enzo Maresca what he can bring. It's not been a great start to his Chelsea campaign, of course, but he played well against Panathinaikos, scored against them. Come on, looks sharp. I think it's a real opportunity, and if he can show his pace, which that's what he has, and we ain't seen enough of that. I just feel this is a game that can really bring out your ability, and if he can show it away at St James's Park, then he's got every opportunity to break into that Premier League side.
It's an interesting dynamic tonight as well, isn't it? Because when you normally come up against the team that have made 11 changes, perhaps opportunity early in the game whilst they're still settling in, but this is a Chelsea 11 that have spent plenty of the time on the pitch together already. Enzo Maresca can make big changes for the cup competitions. These players have played in this competition already and as well in the Europa Conference League.
Yeah, they've got depth, we know that. They've got an awful lot of players all signing up. We talk about Mudryk, 8-year contract he signed, and they've been doing that. That's how they've been signing all those players. But as you said, they're squad depth, and this is why I think they're having such a good league campaign, because they've got players like this in the background trying to compete for their first team spot. And I think Enzo Maresca have got them playing really well as a team, as a unit.
Anthony Gordon on the charge immediately, and he doesn't look as if he has any issues, does he? And the crowd love that. Would have been a big boost for Newcastle supporters when the teams came out an hour ago to see his name in the starting lineup, and this just sums what Anthony Gordon is all about. Tenacious, relentless.
Yeah, look, I've been there, as I said, former player. You can get the crowd on side immediately. Look, in the opening minute, and he's shut down the fullback and made a challenge, and that already got the crowd up on their feet, and they're really raring to go. And I think he was a big miss against Chelsea at the weekend.
A loose header from Lloyd Kelly, and it just opens the door here for Chelsea, but it's a tame effort in the end that comes from Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, who hasn't had too much game time since leaving Leicester to link up once again with Enzo Maresca.
That's a big chance, that, Bish. That is a big chance in there. What 2 minutes into this game? I think Dewsbury-Hall will be really disappointed. He didn't work the Nick Pope even more there, because he had a real opportunity to just little connection into the corner. Could have been 1-0 already. It's a huge opportunity.
Just 3 substitute appearances in the Premier League for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, but he has started all of Chelsea's games in cup competition. We expected a fervent atmosphere tonight at St James's Park, and we most certainly have that. Newcastle yet to hit their stride really in the Premier League, although they did make a good start, of course. 3 wins in their first 4. The chance to get the ball in here. Joe Linton hits the post. Glorious chance for Newcastle to take the lead, and only Joe Linton will know how he didn't put that away.
Wow. Isak, fantastic ball. We see Joe Linton at the back post on his own, arm up, calling for it. There you go, put that in the back of the net, and he somehow hit the post and it's gone wide. I mean, we've not got a better angle there or a better view on our screens to show if it's onside or not, but for me, he looked onside. Love to see an angle that shows that, but could be 1-1 already, 3 minutes in.
Well, it's been a huge problem for Newcastle this season, not taking their chances. They have the second poorest performance against their expected goals in the Premier League so far, and they're the latest miss in front of goal. He had to put that away, Joe Linton. There's a game which, as Darren says, has begun at a ferocious pace here. Chances at both ends. It's interesting to see, whilst Newcastle have struggled in the league recently without a win in 5, they've had a better expected goals in all 5 of those games, including games against both Manchester City and Chelsea. If they can sharpen up in front of goal, you feel that things might just start moving for Newcastle.
Yeah, that's it. You've got to take it. You've got to take your opportunities, and that right there, I mean, it's... I don't know if he was caught in 2 minds, whether to hit it with his left foot or turn towards the ball and hit it with his right foot, and he just got mixed up, and I mean, what was he, 6 yards out, 7 yards out, and he hit the outside of the post. I mean, it was disappointed.
Good run forward there by Lewis Hall, who laid on Newcastle's goal at Stamford Bridge on Sunday, his first return to Chelsea since he left them to join Newcastle. Tonali and Hall standing over this free kick, whipped in towards the back post. It spills out from Jorgensen. Chelsea managed to scramble the ball away. Well, he made his mind up early, Jorgensen, but he couldn't take it in cleanly, and it's a bit of a let-off once again for Chelsea.
Yeah, great delivery, Lewis Hall there. And he did, look, fair play, he's made a decision to come out, and he did get there, but he made a bit of a mess of it, but they couldn't capitalise on it, Newcastle. But they've got to take note of that. They've got to take positivity from that. Every delivery they get, every corner, every free kick, try and put it on Jorgensen, see if it's his night or not.
Eddie Howe has been saying he wants his team to be aggressive, to attack teams, and they're certainly taking this tight to Chelsea in the opening minutes. Chelsea just need to settle into the contest, deal with the atmosphere. Jorgensen under pressure from Isak, and he skews his clearance off. Just a bit of a nervy start perhaps at the back for Chelsea so far tonight.
Yeah, if I'm on that pitch, or if I'm Eddie Howe there, I'm saying to everyone, get a crossing opportunity, get a corner, as I said, get a shooting opportunity, just to have a go, because he hasn't started the game particularly well, and if he's low on confidence after those 2 mistakes, let's just test him as soon as we can.
Here's Chelsea's cup goalkeeper, Philip Jorgensen, 22 years of age, started every cup game so far this season. Of course, Robert Sanchez, Premier League goalkeeper. Possession almost won back there, but Newcastle relentless in these early minutes. Been a Newcastle player, Darren, you've played there as an opposition player as well. Just how intense is the crowd here at St James's Park when they're really in the mood for it on a big night like this?
You know what, it's amazing. It's amazing that both as a player for the club and a player that's going against the club as well, because look, it's such a huge stadium. The support, the fan base. When I was up there, I made it no secret that I loved playing for the football club. I loved the fan base because of that. You get there, and look, if you lose, you're made to know that you've lost. And if you're seen out in the supermarket and that, you get pulled by the people. What are you doing out here? And question about the games. It's just a way of life for them up there, and look, it's the way of life for a lot of supporters. But it's different to everywhere else I've played at that football club.
Newcastle looking to go direct, and Jorgensen has to come out of his penalty area to deal with it. Now a chance for Mudryk to just step through the gears, but he loses possession, and it's retrieved by Sean Longstaff, back in the starting lineup tonight. Been plenty of discussion over Newcastle's midfield in recent weeks. Joe Linton looking to push it forwards, and it's just nodded back to Jorgensen.
See, it's that one there with Mudryk. He's so fast. We know how quick he is. He's been brought in because he's so fast. He's got that pace. just push it and run. You're up against Emma Craft, just push it and run. Let's have a race. Open in 10 minutes, let's have a race. See if I can get you facing the other goal. Instead, it's a bit too negative, and this is what I'm saying. It's an opportunity for him to show his ability, because we all know he's got ability. A bit too negative with a little sidewards flick inside and just loses possession a little bit too easily.
A good outing for Chelsea last week in the Conference League. 4-1 win against Panathinaikos. Scored his only goal of the season and laid on a couple as well. Enzo Maresca has been open enough to say that Modric perhaps one of the last players to understand what he wants from him as a head coach. And here's Dewsbury Hall. Just slips inside the penalty area and rolls the ball back to find Dizazi. Now Vega. Fernandez trying to thread one through, but it was read by Lewis Hall.
A pet hate of mine that would be if I was the manager. I've seen a few people slip over. They've probably not got their footwork correct. Joe Linton we see a minute ago as well, and just there Dewsbury Hall.
Cucurella pulls it back. It's a good ball back as well. Takes a deflection. Nick Pope was rooted to the spot and mightily relieved that dropped wide of his left-hand post. Chances coming at both ends early on here.
It's a great cutback. I always say if a fullback, if a wide player gets back, the cutback, because someone's always on. It was Vega that time. He arrived late. It was great defending. Was it Joe Willock in the end who got back? Absolutely great defending.
Enzo Maresca in discussion down in the technical area. There has been some start to the season for Chelsea. They've been purring in recent weeks. Here's Cucurella. Dewsbury Hall. Newcastle just switching off for a second. Ball clipped in. And it will spin behind for another Chelsea corner. It's under Isak, who was on the score sheet on Sunday for Newcastle. It was their first goal in open play in 436 minutes. They have had trouble going forward. So what can Chelsea conjure up from this corner? Dropped into the 6-yard box and it's flicked away by Hall. Enzo Fernandez, who's found himself out of the Premier League team for Chelsea recently. They've had a really good balance in midfield as well with Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. Fernandez is the player that's paying the price at the moment. Cross comes in. Got it away by Joel Linton, but doesn't get it too far away from danger. Dewsbury Hall. And Joel Linton a little clumsy, and he may have hurt himself there as well. Chelsea play on. Fernandez again. Sweeps the ball out to the far side. Doesn't quite get the angle right. What you'd expect from the World Cup winner.
A little bit sloppy. Tried the crossfield pass. He tries to make it tick, doesn't he, Fernandez? He gets the ball, finds the fullbacks, finds the defender. Just has one or two passes before he tries something to help his team, but just got that one wrong.
It's been interesting to see what Enzo Maresca has done in recent games. At the weekend we saw Reece James moved out to the left side of defence, Malo Gusto on the right, but he was pushing up into such an advanced position, and Cole Palmer put into what Maresca described as the left pocket, and Newcastle really struggled to deal with him. Brilliant pass for a goal which was chalked off for offside on 10 minutes, but a wonderful goal in which Palmer scored from that space as well.
Yeah, well, you can see right now as we're talking, Cucurella is finding himself in the central midfield position. I think that's what you say, in those inverted fullbacks that Pep Guardiola invented, as people would say. Cucurella, look right there, look, he's in centre midfield trying to get the ball. The three at the back, Enzo the deepest. It's tough to play against, but if you get the ball, that's where you've got to capitalise and get Anthony Gordon down the wing, get Joe Linton down the wing, and see if you can get them facing their own goal.
How disruptive is that for a midfield when someone drops in to give them an extra number? Well, maybe we can pick up on that now with Chelsea.
Well, that's what they want, though. What Joe Linton did just there is what they want. You kind of set a trap that you're looking not interested as a midfielder wide player, but as soon as it goes in, if the pass is a little bit slow, a little bit sloppy, Joe Linton showed it there. Get it at him straight away. But when you do, you have to take advantage of that. And they'd have been on 3-on-2 there with Cucurella set in the central midfield. But it's difficult. Of course, it's difficult because you don't know who to mark. But they're top players. They have to come up with a solution of what they do. Look, we see there Sean Longstaff's on Cucurella as we speak.
Longstaff back in the team. Possession is turned over. Can Newcastle capitalise? Isak just tries to push it through to find Tonali. Now Joel Linton sends in the cross. It crashes off Tosin, and Newcastle will have themselves a corner hit.
In all fairness, they are playing it really well. We see Joe Linton almost got there. That one they tried to feed it into Nkunku. It was a poor pass, and Willock cut it out. And this, if it's just got through, Anthony Gordon was at the back post. But yeah, they're playing it really well. They're against this system that's tough to play against, but they're coming up with solutions at the moment.
Newcastle haven't scored from a corner in the Premier League so far this season, as Ando Tonali prepares to take this. There's a delivery of depth as well, but he's put too much on it and evades everyone. It's a really interesting tactical battle here tonight. What Chelsea are trying to do and how Newcastle are trying to exploit it to their own advantage. They're a team that works so hard, Newcastle, to make things so difficult for a team to get out, but there's some very talented Chelsea players out there tonight. Long ball forward, Chelsea showing that they are happy to go direct when the opportunity is there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. On the flip side, if you're Chelsea, that's what you're trying to do. Have 2, 3, 4, even 5 small, short passes before an opportunity comes up that they can play the long one and get in behind. Just didn't quite get that one right.
Correa up against Gordon. We saw a few times at the weekend. Newcastle did struggle really in the opening 20 minutes at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea found ways to cut them open. Jackson dropping off from the attack and bringing a defender out with him, which then created space for the likes of Neto, the likes of Madueke. A competition which has perhaps increased in importance in recent years, as we see Cole Palmer watching on. He was brilliant yet again on Sunday, but the desperation for trophies. We've talked about Newcastle's, but Chelsea, this is a chance for them as well to take a step closer to winning the first piece of major silverware, and we all know how that worked out for Jose Mourinho's time in charge. He got the Carabao Cup one, never looked back.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, Enzo Maresca has come in, and he wasn't, I mean, they weren't shouting for the rooftops for him to stay at Leicester, even though Leicester won the championship. And I mean, come in, was there any expectation? I think he's got them playing some really good stuff. Do I think Poch would have got them playing the same? Maybe. But I think if Enzo Maresca can win a trophy, as you said, in his first season, that's a fantastic achievement considering where they've been over the last couple of years.
Longstaff to Hall. Now Joel Linton under pressure immediately from Dizazi. Just a bit too much pressure. Free kick to Newcastle. 15 minutes played here at St James's Park. The game at 0-0. But we're not too sure how it is. Big chances missed by both sides.
Good battle this, Dizazi and Joe Linton. Good battle. Both big, strong, want to get the best of each other. I'm really looking forward to that. Here
is Joel Linton looking to drag Newcastle forward here. Opportunity to cross, and it was cut out at the front post. They'll be disappointed with that, Joe Willock. He's got blistering pace. He's got blistering pace, Christopher Nkunku, and he was wiped out there by Fabian Schär, who will surely have his name taken. Yeah, both committed. Poor pass really for Dizazi. Both committed players. And Fabian Schär has just made his decision to get there, made his decision to jump in, and just got there too. It's the right decision. It's a yellow card, no more, and I'm sure Nkunku will be fine. Treading the tightrope early in the evening, Fabian Schär. Nkunku looks as if he is okay. He's had an impressive season for Chelsea so far. 8 goals he's scored, and 7 of them have come in cup competition. amongst the goal scorers when they saw off Barrow in the previous round. He took the match ball home that night. But we talk about trying to quieten the crowd here at St James's Park. Is that one way of doing it? 69% possession for Chelsea.
Well, yes and no, but because the best opportunities have fallen to Newcastle, really. So I think they're playing this really well. They know they like possession, they know they keep possession, but where are they keeping possession? They're not affecting the game. I mean, they can now on this free kick.
Sent in by Enzo Fernandez. Cross whipped in, and Nick Pope happy to watch that one go by.
Yeah, look, they're keeping possession. As I said, the centre halves are getting it, central defenders, they're playing to the midfield, they're coming back. So it's all well and good having that much possession, but Newcastle are biding their time and then winning it high up the pitch. If they can continue their possession further up the field, Chelsea, then they'll get a lot more joy. But at the moment, Newcastle, although a lot less possession, are looking the most like to score.
Newcastle are a team that have done a lot of damage this season, turning the ball over high. The real strength of their game. Problem for Eddie Howe's side has been a shot conversion this season, which is a long way down from what it's been over the last couple of years. It's remarkable to think that they went so long without a goal from open play, because they have had injuries and not too much opportunity to mix the team up for Eddie Howe. He's spoken about that in the build-up to this game. Joe Linton finds Willock here into the Chelsea penalty area, then back out once again. Now Longstaff just looking to poke it through, but you can see how congested things are there. Chelsea with plenty of players back. Tonali. Share into Willock, who's tracked by Vega. Vega into Dewsbury Hall, and he's caught there as he looked to shuffle away from Sean Longstaff.
Yeah, missed-time challenge. I was going to say I'll be surprised if he isn't given a yellow card there. Sean Longstaff, nice to see him back in the football team, I think, but just this one a bit over exuberant, as I say. I mean, it's a poor challenge. It's a yellow card for sure, but as you said, we rightly see there the team shape, how quick Chelsea are getting back into that team shape. That'll be tough to break them down because they're so narrow. That's the opportunity to then use the width and try and get it into the box for the big men inside, Isak and Joe Linton.
It's really interesting as well with Sean Longstaff, whose qualities perhaps just go under the radar a little. He started Newcastle's first 4 games of the season and they were unbeaten, 3 wins, 1 draw. Hasn't started any of the last 5, and Newcastle haven't won in that time. They've been playing Tonali, they've been playing Bruno Guimaraes, who's on the bench tonight, and Joel Linton, and there's just perhaps a feeling that the balance isn't quite right, and Sean Longstaff perhaps just does some of the defensive actions a little better. Win percentage under Eddie Howe when Longstaff starts for Newcastle is 20% better with him in the team than when he's not. Good work by Hall. Looks to push it forwards, and Willock's on the chase. Tosin, though, will just touch it back to find Philip Jorgensen. Newcastle working hard again, looking to pressure Chelsea, looking to force a mistake, but they work their way out of it with composure. Nice from Modric, but João Felix steps in, and he's still going here. João Felix, lovely footwork from him, but he fires it over the top.
Lovely footwork. You called it perfectly. Great feet. We'll see it here. Look, gets it in this position. Bad pass again, or bad touch by Fabian Schär. But this one here, he goes to shoot, just chops inside, and just a little bit too much on the shot. But this is lovely feet. Shows what he can bring to the team. Yeah, but going to Sean Longstaff, I mean, if you look at the Newcastle side, not many local players. Sean Longstaff's one of those, been there a long time, and some people say, does that matter? But look, when I was there was a lot of Geordies, a lot of local lads in around the squad. They know what it's like to play for the football club, because they're fans of the football club as well. So it's nice to see him out there, and the crowd certainly support him as well.
All supporters will tell you that they want local players in their team, someone who comes from the area, of course. Lewis Hall, their left-back, who was at Chelsea, grew up a Newcastle fan. Kick given away there, just trying to pressurise a touch too much. It's a big opportunity for both these two teams tonight. There's some heavyweight clashes in the Carabao Cup. Big names are going to fall. Which one of these two teams will still be in the competition come the end of the night? Just a reminder as well that if we are level after 90 minutes here tonight, it goes straight to a penalty shootout, which is what happened when the sides met in the Carabao Cup at Stamford Bridge last season. Quarter-final stage, Newcastle were leading going into stoppage time, and then a moment to forget for Kieran Trippier. Chelsea equalised. Trippier missed his penalty in the shootout. Matt Ritchie had a penalty saved. And Chelsea would go on to reach the final, where they lost to Liverpool. Midway point in the first half here at St James's Park. Newcastle yet to have a shot on target, but they've certainly had the best chance of the game. Joelinton hitting the post in the opening couple of minutes. Vega put under pressure. Newcastle steal it back. Isak's there! Newcastle into the lead. And it's Alexander Isak against Chelsea once again. And we've been saying that Newcastle have been trying to force the mistake. Well, they forced it there. Chelsea find themselves in a difficult position here at St James's Park.
And it's that man Isak again. And look, we did call it. I call it setting trap. Some people don't know what I mean. What I mean by that is you're attracting the passes into midfield. And as soon as it goes in there, you've got Tonali, you've got Joelinton. They're claiming it's a foul. I don't think there's much in it. And look, Isak, well, he's not going to miss that. It's a great finish. Tucked it past Jorgensen into the corner. But that's exactly what we were talking about. The possession, you can have all the possession you want. In the wrong areas, you lose it, you're going to concede. And it's a great finish by Isak.
Chelsea playing themselves into problems, and Alexander Isak cashes in. That ball to Renato Vega really wasn't on. He didn't want to receive it where he did. Newcastle hunting in a pack. They had 4 players around the ball, and they strike first here tonight.
Believe you me, Bish, I've been there. I've been in that position in the centre midfield when you lose it and it's directly conceding a goal from that, and it's not nice. It's not a nice feeling. But if you're Newcastle, I don't think it was Vega's fault at all. I think that the pass wasn't great, but we're seeing again, his confidence seemed to be gone a little bit, so they need to capitalise on this.
Joelinton looking to power through. Rolls it right, he finds Tonali, just wide. Now Newcastle have got their tails up here. And Sandro Tonali wasn't too far away.
Yeah, you asked me what it's like to play up there for Newcastle. I mean, when you're on top and in front, as they are, it's no better place. And it's a good strike, just went wide of the post, but winning it high up once again.
Chelsea struggling to get out here. I just felt that Newcastle season needs a shot in the arm. And we'll be hoping that it comes here tonight. The noise is almost at fever pitch inside St James's Park.
Yeah, but you called it, Bish. You called it. There's some big clubs, big teams that are going to fall in this round. Southampton, Brentford already through, we know that. But look, you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, City, they play each other. Aston Villa are playing tonight. There's going to be some big teams that are falling.
Chelsea switch off, and Isak can send in a cross here. It's flicked on and turned into his own net. Newcastle double their advantage. Terrible defending from Chelsea. And 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes have given Newcastle a real grip on this game.
Wow. That's all you can say. Well, like we said, can they capitalise on their lack of confidence in the last couple of minutes? They've obviously got a game plan. They keep losing it high up the field. I mean, that's poor defending. They've allowed him just to get a free run, Isak. Deflected. and it's gone in off the Chelsea play. I think it's going in anyway. I'll be interested to see who that's given to. Final is Willock. I think it's no goal. It's no goal. It looks like it's going wide.
Ozzy with the final touch. Newcastle won't care. 2 goals up here. Enzo Maresca has to find an answer. He's just got on top of his team in the last few minutes. They've been making mistakes, switching off at the set piece as well as Newcastle acted fast.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when the game plan isn't working, you have to change it. Of course you do. You talk about plan Bs. They need one now because the game plan of playing it out from back's not working. Newcastle are playing this tremendously well. So they need to, and I think I see him pointing whether he was saying, look, let's get it long for a few minutes now, turn Newcastle, get them facing their own goal instead. But at the moment, it's comfortable for Newcastle.
It's going to be really interesting here to see if Chelsea change their approach. It was perhaps an accusation that was laid at Enzo Maresca from Leicester fans last season when they went through that period of struggle, having led the Championship by such a large margin at the turn of the year, that when things started going badly in games, there wasn't an alternative way to play. Chelsea again just happy to move the ball around in their defensive third. And again, they turn over possession. Joel Linton. They might have had some problems going forward this season, Newcastle. There aren't too many games in which they have struggled defensively. There was a pass on much earlier there for Chelsea out to the far side, and it was something they didn't take on.
Yeah, we spoke about Mudryk earlier. He didn't take on the race with Emil Kraft, and there Nkunku, he had Mudryk on his own down the left-hand side. He puts it in front of him. They can get on the attack, get into the box. He doesn't. He comes back again. A little bit too negative in the opening half an hour by Chelsea, and they need to get some kind of grip of the game again. As we said, the possession was high. They've not really created anything.
3 attempts at goal so far tonight for Chelsea, but it's Newcastle who have had more efficiency in front of goal, and a yellow card is going to come here. Chelsea just need someone to settle them down here. Of course, there are a team of young players, someone perhaps like Enzo Fernandez just need to try, or Marc Cucurella, try and calm this team down. Yellow card is shown to Badia Shiel. It is a long hill to climb now for Chelsea. Forwards by Tonali. Isak, who looked across, final touch. Coming back off Alexander Isak, so it will be a goal kick. But again, it's quick thinking of the free kick.
I mean, he half switched off. And if he'd have switched off fully, then he'd have been in, Isak. But half learnt his lesson from the own goal by Disasi.
Such an unfortunate moment for him. As Chelsea again invite risk, and this time they do have to launch it long. Newcastle are playing this perfectly so far tonight. Half an hour gone here at St James's Park. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes, giving Newcastle control of the tie. He does have a loaded bench here tonight, of course, Enzo Maresca. Plenty of options that he can turn to as Newcastle pinch back possession again. Tonali left to Willock, drags his effort wide, but the chances continue to come for Newcastle.
He's winning it high again. You've got to be disappointed if you're Chelsea. This time I think it was Emil Kraft winning it high, and they played it well to Willock. Just dragged his shot. I don't know if he was in two minds whether he got the shot off or he's trying to reverse it. I think it was Anthony Gordon at the back post there, but just got that one wrong, didn't he, in the end? But they're winning it high up the pitch. They're playing this perfectly, Newcastle, has to be said.
Chelsea struggling to come up with a reaction to what has happened in the last few minutes. Enzo Maresca looking frustrated in his technical area as we take a look at this quick free kick again, which allowed Newcastle to double their advantage.
To this, look, it's poor, it's unfortunate deflection, and that's unfortunate as well. Disashi couldn't quite organise his feet to clear it, but he'll be disappointed with the first thing, just switching off at the free kick, allowing Isak acres of space on the left-hand side to do whatever he wanted. All right, he probably got the cross wrong, but it was deflected in the path. But that's not good enough as defending.
Gordon working hard, working relentlessly once again, but now a bit of room for Enzo Fernandez. Cucurella, 4 Chelsea players ahead of him, gives it back to Fernandez, and now it's back with Badiashile.
What we do know though, Bish, is they're an outstanding football team, Chelsea. They've got an outstanding bench, one of the most informed players in the Premier League at the moment in Cole Palmer. This game can turn like, well, I was going to say like that, but no one can see us, but this game can turn, you know, so Newcastle got to be wary of that. At the moment, Chelsea have to be the team to come up with something, and Newcastle can just kind of relax and not invite pressure, but say, come on, break us down. But on this showing, it looks like Newcastle are heading for the third goal.
Here's Dewsbury Hall. Disasi under pressure from Joelinton, just manages to work the ball to Tosin. Tosin, who's been praised by Enzo Maresca, who made a few headlines when he spoke about perhaps a lack of leadership within the Chelsea squad, was saying he needed more from Reece James. He kind of stepped down on that a touch in the days after, but said that Tosin was a player that he could tell had all of those qualities, but of course he's had to be patient for minutes at times as well. Pushed forward by Vega, and it's a good ball to release João Felix here. And again, he's driving towards the Newcastle penalty area. Mudryk back to João Felix. Can he finish? Deflected behind. Lloyd Kelly gets himself in the way, but there you have straight away an example of how Chelsea can get right back into this game.
Yeah, exactly what I said. Fabian Schär ball watching there. He's gone with the pass instead of the runner. Great play, João Felix. Great delivery into the box by Mudryk. Look, this nice little touch in there, but it's great. Look at the defending, Lloyd Kelly. Desperate to block that and stop it going past Nick Pope, but as we said, that can change. That's how quickly it can change.
Chelsea corner. Crowded scene inside the 6-yard box, missed by Pope, but an infringement spotted by the referee, Chris Kavanagh. Wasn't too convincing perhaps in there for Newcastle. Sandro Tonali down inside the goal right now.
Yeah, this is becoming a bit of a theme throughout any football match really, in the Premier League for sure. Surround the goalkeeper, Nick Pope. Good delivery into the box. Any touch from the defender or the forward ends up in the net, but I think, was there much in that? I didn't see much in that, to be honest. Okay, they were standing around him. I didn't see much in terms of infringement, but referee made a decision. But keep watch of that, because I see that in the previous corner.
Swing and a miss from Nick Pope, who perhaps feel that he should have kept out Cole Palmer's goal at the weekend as well at Stamford Bridge. Jason Tindall is he offering instruction to Joelinton on the touchline a couple of moments away, thumped into the stands by Marc Cucurella. Ten minutes to go until half-time here at St James's Park. So far, so good for Newcastle United. As we've mentioned, big names will fall tonight. Tottenham playing Manchester City, Liverpool playing Brighton. Favourable draw perhaps in the next round, and all of a sudden Wembley is within touching distance. Isak caught by Vega. Delayed decision from the referee.
Yeah, I think he just tried to play the advantage, Chris Kavanagh, didn't he? And there wasn't one really. It was just a late push into the shoulder, into the back of Isak. And I think Joelinton wanted the free kick because he was just holding the ball saying, come on. And look, it's a dangerous position once again. They're trying to get back into the game, Chelsea. A little bit too much, though.
Such a boost for Newcastle to have Alexander Isak back amongst the goals as well. Goals in successive games for him now. Having not scored in the previous 3, but we all know the player that he is. And when he's in full stride, when he's on top form, he is one of the very best in the Premier League. Hall will deliver. In it comes. Joelinton gets his head to it.
So I think on that situation we spoke about, didn't we? Jorgensen started the game not convincingly enough. Tonali should be delivering that. From the other side, Hall should be delivering that. Put it right on him. Not like that, though.
They've got plenty of good balls into the box so far tonight, Newcastle, but not on that occasion. Sean Longstaff can afford a smile. Chelsea again looking to work their way out from deep, and some indecision from Jorgensen, and still some indecision, and he gives Newcastle possession. Really poor from him. Here's Tonali. And Joelinton. 1-2 doesn't quite come off. Just feeds into the narrative that there's perhaps a little bit of nerves from Jorgensen. It's something that Newcastle will look to prey upon. Of course, we've seen Robert Sanchez. He had a few instances at the weekend when he struggled with his distribution. Difficult era for goalkeepers, isn't it? With so much expected from them, they have to take these risks, and they're encouraged to take chances and almost forget about if they do make a mistake, because managers are so insistent on the way they want them to play.
Absolutely, and look, I do feel for goalkeepers, especially ones, I mean, don't look that comfortable at the moment, but you can tell that the manager, that what the gameplay wants him to play out from the back and try and find an opponent. Sometimes you've just got to go long, and that was the perfect opportunity, for a perfect example. Just go long, just clear the dangers, get it as far away from your goal as possible.
João Felix was popping up in one of those pockets once again. Dewsbury Hall into Vega, closed down by Willock. Enzo Fernandez scheming away, but he just rolls it to Vega. Cucurella in that advanced central position, touches the ball off but loses possession. But now João Felix for Chelsea. Mudryk. João Felix might just go for goal here. João Felix effort beaten away by Nick Pope, and he did well as well to push it out of harm's way.
Yeah, he did. It was a good save. I'd like to see another angle of this. Maybe catch it. I mean, I've not been a goalkeeper, of course, but it's a good strike. But just look at how his angle is there, our position is there. Maybe he catches it. But he makes the decision to push it away, and as you said, he pushed it away really well, away from the danger.
João Felix showing he's willing to take this one on for Chelsea. He's been looking to drive them into dangerous positions, and he's not been shy of having a pop at goal as well. Can Chelsea find a way back into this game? Can they halve the deficit perhaps before half-time? All of a sudden the task would become a bit more straightforward, a bit more manageable for them. And the other side who have been scoring plenty of goals this season.
They're playing once again this unique formation with the deep defender in Tosin, the two, look, Enzo and Vega, with Cucurella playing up in centre midfield. Again, like we said, if they can win it in Newcastle in those gaps, every opportunity to counter-attack and create an opportunity. But trying to find spaces, Chelsea, trying to find João Felix in that little hole, as we see just there.
It's really interesting what Maresca does, isn't it? Because he's not just pushing a fullback into a central position deep in midfield. He's getting that player advanced. We saw it with Gusto at the weekend, almost playing as a wide 10 at times at Stamford Bridge, and Cucurella time and time again getting himself into those advanced areas. Good work on the far side by Mudryk. João Felix wanted it cut back to him. Good recovery work though to touch that behind for a corner.
Yeah, that's better. That's better from Mudryk. That's what you want to see. Someone who's that fast, who's a wide player, push it and go, and he did that. And it was great defending, great covering. Emil Kraft there just gets back, and he has to get that right, because if he doesn't, it's a penalty. But that's more like it. That's better from Mudryk.
Enzo Fernandez standing over the corner under Nick Pope. It goes again, and he gets a touch to it this time. Now here's Gordon. It's Lewis Hall. Newcastle just take the sting out of things, and Longstaff can roll it across the penalty area into Sharp, into Emil Kraft. Chelsea have won the last 3 meetings between the teams. It's always interesting, these games that come so quickly after a meeting in the league. Bizarre that we seem to see it so many times, teams drawn against each other in a cup competition off the back or just before playing each other in the Premier League. Mudryk finding himself on this near side, and he finds Vega. Cucurella this time tight to the touchline over on the far side. Enzo Fernandez looking to just clip one in to find Nkunku. He lays it off to João Felix, who goes again, and he can't find a way past Nick Pope. He had to keep his hands on that, with Nkunku looking to steal in.
He looks the player most likely, João Felix, as he popping up in those positions. Newcastle got to get grips of this. Good hold-up play from Nkunku. Just not enough on it. A little bit more on that from João Felix, and it goes into the bottom corner. But well held, Nick Pope.
Couple of goals for João Felix in the win against Panathinaikos last midweek in the Conference League. His first goals in 7 games since he scored against Wolves in the Premier League. Yet to start a game in the league for Chelsea since coming back to the club. Just shows you the depth that Enzo Maresca has got to work with. He's the envy in that regard of probably every other head coach in the league. So many options, of course. Players completely left out of their Conference League squad. Cole Palmer not involved in the group stages of that competition. I think it was 7 first-teamers who didn't even travel to Greece to take on Panathinaikos, and Chelsea left with a 4-1 victory.
I mean, how you keep that many players happy, I do not know, and it's a tough job for whoever has to try and do that. Enzo Maresca in this case. It must be so difficult to keep these players happy.
We were saying, weren't we, before the game, that progression in cup competitions perhaps makes that a little bit easier for him, because there's more games to play, more chances for players to feel involved as it's rolled back to Nkunku. Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez. Vega back to Enzo Fernandez. Newcastle with good numbers back here, keeping it compact. Dizazi's ball towards the back post. Mudryk looks to fire it across. Half-hearted appeals for a handball. Now Gordon in a tight situation, but he does well.
Yeah, they're pushing Chelsea, aren't they, in the last couple of minutes till half-time. They're pushing. If you're Newcastle, you're looking to see it out, going 2-0 up, but Chelsea just finding something extra. Good defending once again. Might have clipped his arm, but nothing in that.
Chelsea thought they had a penalty late on at Stamford Bridge. Dan Burn initially penalised, but the decision was overturned after a look at the monitor. A fleeting touch of the shoulder. Enzo Maresca's got a big 15 minutes ahead of him. Has to come up with a formula to get Chelsea back into this game.
That formula could consist of Madueke and Cole Palmer.
Here's Dizazi looking to feed Nkunku. Good work by Sean Longstaff. That's what Newcastle fans have been calling for. A bit of cover to help out the defence.
That's exactly what you want. Slight mistake. Dizazi gets in, and there's your midfield man, the local boy. Sean Longstaff winning it, covering for his team.
A moment to forget for Axel Dizazi midway through this first half, when he turned the ball into his own net, which has Newcastle in a really good place right now as we tick into stoppage time at the end of the first half. And there will be just 1 additional minute bolted on. Newcastle will want that half-time whistle to come with this 2-0 lead secure. Just feels as if this game is going to play its way through to half-time unless Chelsea can do something quickly here. They might just be able to, because Mudryk, they have one of the quickest players playing in English football. Cucurella into Enzo Fernandez. Newcastle fans whistling for half-time to come, but now Gordon can step in and Newcastle can tear forward here. 2 up in support. The cross comes in, it's cleared away. Well, it could have got even better there for Newcastle.
It's winning it once again. And this time, is it Badia Shield just losing out to Anthony Gordon? It's great, showed great pace. Good cross across the box and just probably overhit it a tiny bit. I was thinking to myself, just go for goal. Probably the last attack of the half, go for goal. But he decides to play it across and it just hits the left knee of Joe Willett, but winning it again high up the pitch.
Things looking very good right now for Newcastle United, who lead by 2-0 here at half-time. Smiles all round Alexander Isak, setting them on their way, and just 3 minutes later, Axel Disasi turning the ball into his own net. There is a lot of sorting out to do in that Chelsea changing room at half-time, but those Newcastle supporters very happy with life right now. Substitutes quite likely to play a big part tonight, so let's just quickly run you through the benches of both sides here tonight and the options available to both Eddie Howe and Enzo Maresca. Outfield players available for Newcastle: Miguel Almiron, Harvey Barnes, Dan Burn, Bruno Guimaraes, Tino Livramento, Lewis Miley, Alex Murphy and William Orsula. For Chelsea, well, they do have some real star talent on their bench: Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke, Levi Colwill, Kasadai, Ben Chilwell, Connie Chukwuemeka and Mark Guiu. So it'll be interesting to see, won't it, Darren, if any changes are made at half-time, particularly from Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be, to be honest. I think a lot of the times when this happens, when you've not really performed in the first half, the manager will just say, look, I'll give you 10-15 minutes, then I'll make changes. And as you said, they've got some fantastic players to bring on, and Newcastle may need to weather the storm for the first 10-15 minutes. If they concede and it goes 2-1, then it's game on. So I'm looking forward to how it's going to start.
How do you think Eddie Howe will send his team out for this second half? Do you think it'll be a case of try and protect what we have, and then maybe more of what we saw in the first half, just try and pinch possession in the right places, but we have a lead to protect, and first of all, let's make sure that's the priority?
I think a bit of both, as you said, just protect your lead. Don't be broken down easily, especially the opening, as I said, 10 to 15 minutes, but then just continue what you're doing. Then it's more than likely going to be game over.
It is now such an opportunity for Newcastle United to get themselves into the last 8 of this competition. As we've said, there will be some big names tumble tonight. The going has got even worse for Manchester City at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That score is now 2-0 to Tottenham. Brighton struggling against Liverpool as well. So some very good sides, capable teams, will be out of this competition. And all it's going to do is just add to the belief, perhaps, for Newcastle, who are being watched tonight by one of their legends, Alan Shearer, on commentary duty tonight. He wants it as much as anyone, doesn't he? 1969, the last time that Newcastle got their hands on major silverware.
Yeah, he'll be saying the same thing, probably echoing what I said, that the supporters desperate for a trophy up here. But as you rightly said, Chelsea are as well. Enzo Maresca will be as well. So I expect Chelsea to come out fast in this second half and give it all they have, and then 10, 15, 20 minutes, make some changes. But Newcastle, as I said, have to weather the storm, try and keep it at 2-0, and if they can nick a goal up the other end, then, as I said, it's more than likely game over.
Chelsea's players out first for this second half. Axel Disasi with the unfortunate moment when he turned the ball into his own net to make it 2-0, but this is a Chelsea side more than capable of coming up with a response, with a reaction in this second half. Brilliant, though, for Newcastle to have Alexander Isak back amongst the goals in the last couple of games. Brilliant player.
Yeah, of course, one of their star players, if not their star player, and someone that can really take it to the opposition, even when you're not playing your best. If you give the ball to him, you know he can create something, and as I said, when he scored the goal, as soon as it was put in front of him, he doesn't miss those. He's a key player for Chelsea, and if he gets an opportunity in this second half, I'm sure he'll take it, and that's what he'll be looking to get.
25 goals he scored in all competitions last year, Alexander Isak. 21 of them came in the Premier League, and it's some list that he joins players to have scored 20 goals in a Premier League season for the club. The man we saw just a few moments ago, Alan Shearer, did it 4 times. Andrew Cole, Peter Beardsley and Les Ferdinand, but he was the first player to do it in 27 years. We're back underway at St James's Park, and Chelsea looking to begin it quickly in this second half. Joao Felix, plenty of attempts at goal in the first half, and he wastes no time in having his first attempt of the second. He looks like the player, perhaps, at Newcastle have to keep the closest eye on.
Yeah, he created the opportunities, didn't he, in the first half for Chelsea. João Felix, and once again there, picking the ball up in a good position, hitting his shot, just no conviction again.
There's Enzo Fernandez, looks to push it through to Cucurella, who again was in that advanced position, but look how hard he worked to win that ball back. And now a bit of room in the middle of midfield. It's given away cheaply, and Newcastle can look to come forwards here with Fabian Schär. Still Fabian Schär being able to advance, tries to poke it through, thread it through to Anthony Gordon, and Cucurella able to slide in.
Brilliant defending, Cucurella. That's what you want when they're on the attack. You see his work rate, his desire to get back and win it for his team. Good defending.
A much changed Chelsea team here this evening, as it so often has been in cup competitions this season. For Enzo Maresca, a completely different 11 to the one which beat Newcastle in the Premier League at the weekend. But Eddie Howe rung the changes as well. He made 5, and one of those saw Anthony Gordon back in the team. Short injury layoff. There was a fear that he could be out for much longer, Anthony Gordon, but we saw him turn up tonight. Newcastle fans with a big boost when they saw his name on the team sheet. Of course, recently signed that new deal with the club as well, and he says he would love to win a trophy here. He knows how much it means. He wants to be part of the group that brings it to Newcastle supporters. Newcastle 2 goals to the good, but the game interestingly poised. Cucurella just a little too keen there to try and win the ball back. Jorgensen, who had some shaky moments in the first half. He gets the ball back from Enzo Fernandez and he takes a risk, but he backed himself. Good footwork from the goalkeeper as he saw Anthony Gordon chasing him down. Here's Isak. He looks to clip in across, and it has to be dealt with by Tosin. Sean Longstaff taking his time to get up for Newcastle as Mudryk is brought down, but it was another heart-in-mouth moment for Philip Jorgensen.
Yeah, he looked the calmest man on the pitch, didn't he, at the time? It was looked like Anthony Gordon was going to go and just nick it off him. As you said, great footwork. That will fill him with a bit of confidence, actually, because he did struggle in the first half, so he'll be confident with that.
They are effectively an outfield player now, aren't they, these goalkeepers? And he got the ball back from Enzo Fernandez, and you could see the whites of the eyes of Anthony Gordon there as he closed him down, but he dealt with the situation well.
It's a great turn. Great turn.
He was a busy man last year playing for Villarreal in La Liga. He had the busiest hands in the league, made more saves than any other goalkeeper. Here's Vega. And Badiashile. Into Mudryk. So 1 or 2 bright moments from him in the first half. Enzo Fernandez assessing what's ahead of him. He finds Cucurella. He pulls it back. Nkunku could have brought Chelsea right back into the game. But it was a brilliant piece of defending yet again from Lloyd Kelly. Saw him bail Newcastle out in the first half, and now they're flying forwards here. Really positive surge forward by Willock. Isak peeling towards the back post, takes a touch, and it just takes him initially away from goal. Tonali. Now Hall, he's going to have a go, and he tests Jorgensen. Decent hit that from Lewis Hall.
Yeah, lovely play, both ends of the pitch there. Nothing really come off though. It was good play, and best part of that play was Lloyd Kelly's defending. It was outstanding.
Saw him make that big block in the first half. Lloyd Kelly, he's not getting too much of a look right now in the Premier League. He might just be playing his way into the thoughts of Eddie Howe with what we've seen from him so far here this evening. Mudryk. Dewsbury Hall been on perhaps the fringes of the game so far. Championship title winner last season with Leicester under Enzo Maresca. Cucurella, Joao Felix works it onto his left foot, trying to turn back in, but it's good defensive work. And now Gordon can look to step away here for Newcastle. Isak and Joelinton joining him in the attack, and it's a poor challenge from Anthony Gordon, who went straight through Mark Cucurella there. Yellow card comes out from Chris Kavanagh, and a bit of a flashpoint here. Chelsea players not happy at all with that challenge, and it's all threatening to boil over. Joelinton standing his ground. Chris Kavanagh just casually watching on the referee. Can let the players sort this one out for themselves, but it's a really poor challenge by Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, it was poor. I think it was the initial mistake. He drove forward, he was looking to find Isak, and he didn't, and then he lost the ball. I think it was a mistimed challenge, and it was a poor challenge. It was a yellow card, but then I think it just got out of hand in the end. I don't think it needed that. The referee had kind of sorted it out with the yellow card.
Third Newcastle booking of the night, and with Sean Longstaff and Fabian Schär. Vega assessing his options, and he just clips it out, trying to find Mykhailo Mudryk. Possession similar in the second half to what we saw in the first. Chelsea having plenty of it, 65% since half-time. Enzo Fernandez finds Mudryk with a bit of room here, and he's able to work his way into the Newcastle penalty area. Loose though from Nkunku. Haven't seen the best of him so far this evening, but he is a player that has scored 8 goals already this season for Chelsea. Very much shown his best in cup competition. 7 goals in the cups for them so far, and he got 3 in the last round against Barrow. But now an opportunity for Newcastle to spring forward here. Isak makes his move again. The deflection takes the sting out of the cross, and Jorgensen able to prevent the corner.
It's been a much better start to the second half for Chelsea, creating opportunities, but you see Newcastle, they've dropped 5 yards, 10 yards down the pitch as well, so they're not trying to win it back. I think we called this at half-time, didn't they? Do they come out, do they go for the third, or do they say break us down? It's been a lot better start to the second half by Chelsea.
Here's Mudryk. He's still going here, Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, can he pick somebody out? The cross is pulled back. Nobody on the end of it for Chelsea. Isak under real pressure from Tosin. Enzo Fernandez. Feels like big minutes in the game here at St James's Park as Chelsea try and find a way to half the deficit here. Pushed into Joao Felix, now Mudryk. Dewsbury Hall. Hoists the ball towards the back post. Cucurella meets it. Tonali just standing in the way there as Newcastle look to keep Chelsea out, but the threat beginning to build. Enzo Fernandez clips one forward. Nick Pope unconvincingly pushes it away, and Dewsbury Hall's effort charged down by Lewis Hall. And Nick Pope nods it out to prevent the corner, and then knocks the ball back towards his goal, and we know that you can't do that anymore. Yellow card for delaying the restart for Nick Pope.
I think he'll be pleased with the yellow card, so take a quick throw in. But yeah, unconvincing, as you said, and it has been unconvincing first 10 minutes of this second half by Newcastle, but that's down to Chelsea taking it to Newcastle. And you see here, if they took the throw in then, they could have been in trouble, so he just took a yellow card for the team.
Yellow card that Nick Pope would have been more than happy to take. It'll be interesting to see if he features in former Chelsea head coach Thomas Tuchel's plans with England. Jordan Pickford, the long-time #1 for England, but maybe, just maybe, the door might open for Nick Pope if he can perform well in the colours of his club. Here's Mudryk, who's getting plenty of touches of the ball in this second half. Tosin, Newcastle happy to have everybody back behind the ball. It's almost the back five right now for Newcastle, with Joelinton filling in deep on this near side. Eddie Howe said after the weekend that Newcastle aren't where they want to be, but they have to deal with the reality. But he said a couple of wins would change the picture very dramatically, and it would be a huge boost for them tonight if they can knock Chelsea out of this competition. Enzo Maresca decides to dip down to his bench for the first time this evening. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall departs the scene, and on comes Noni Madueke, and he gives Newcastle something very different to think about.
Yeah, he does. Quiet game for Dewsbury-Hall. He had the opportunity, didn't he, in the opening minute, that he just got wrong. He couldn't quite get into the game. And there's a different challenge now with Madueke coming on.
His first actions will be defensive actions as Lewis Hall picks up possession. Now Willock. Tonali. Well worked by Newcastle, who have got 5 inside the penalty area here, but it's a cross which clears all of them. Chelsea 5 times winners of this competition, but it was 2015 the last time they lifted this trophy. Newcastle beaten finalists on 2 occasions, 1976 and a couple of seasons ago when they lost to Manchester United at Wembley. These nights mean so much, don't they, for teams that don't win trophies. We've seen a few sides pick up the first trophy in a long time in recent years, and Newcastle believe that their time will come soon. See teams battling to win a place in the Champions League, and they are great occasions, and we saw how much Newcastle enjoyed that, but they want to see silverware. They want that moment where they can celebrate a piece of success.
Of course, and these cup opportunities, as you said, the League Cup, 11 changes Chelsea made, and is that showing the importance it is for them as a club? I mean, Newcastle is hugely important to get a trophy over the line, as it is for a lot of the teams that are still left in this competition.
Chelsea, of course, a club that are used to success. So many trophies over the last couple of decades, but they haven't won one since Todd Boehly took control of the club back in 2022. Of course, 2021, a very good year for Chelsea Football Club. Overwhelming favourites to win the UEFA Conference League, and it's been very straightforward for them in their 2 games in that competition so far. You look at the players that they have, Darren, and the results that they've strung together so far this season, as Nkunku looks to burst forwards here, and it's a well-timed challenge by Fabian Schär. But Chelsea 5th in the Premier League right now, and not too far away from the league leaders either. Perhaps they have a chance of having a really successful season in the league as well. Yeah,
of course, and as we see there, Nkunku making some great runs throughout this game, and again, good defending from Fabian Schär. Another one had to get it completely right, it could have been a penalty.
We reached the hour mark at St James's Park. Corner fizzed in towards the front post where Alexander Isak is stationed. He does his job, but Chelsea will get the chance to go again.
Yeah, real congested 6-yard box on all of the corners. They've clearly worked on this. The delivery right onto Nick Pope. Any touch from anyone could end up in the net.
Nani Madueke to take once again. Crowded scene in and around Nick Pope. Awkward delivery. Pope gets a fist to it as he was backtracking. He did well there. The Newcastle keeper, Mudryk, clips in the cross, flicked away. Madueke up against Gordon. Races past him as well and goes down inside the penalty area. And he immediately took a look there towards Chris Kavanagh, but the referee not interested. Stunning burst of pace from Nani Madueke.
Yeah, drop of the shoulder, burst into the box, something we haven't seen at all from anyone in this game for Chelsea, but we have now Madueke. I don't think there was enough in anything there. Just kind of, he tried to get the penalty himself, but great play, Nani Madueke.
Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea having plenty of the ball. Clear-cut chances though. That's a premium so far for them, but it's a clever ball to release Mudryk. Mykhailo Mudryk pulls it back to Nkunku. It will break for Cucurella. Huge deflection, awkward, difficult for Nick Pope, and he was beaten to the ball. Well, initially disappointing from Nkunku, but he almost made amends.
Yeah, it's just not quite happening in front of goal for Nkunku. As I said, he's working tirelessly. He's making some great runs. I mean, this is a great pass for Mudryk. Good pull back. Just got it wrong. Just hit his heel and bounced out. I mean, look at this. This would have been given.
Just before that as well, we saw Nani Madueke go down inside the penalty area, and we'll take a look at this as well and see if there was anything in it as he was challenged by Anthony Gordon.
I mean, there's two arms on his back. There's a case, there's an argument that it could be given a penalty. Is it enough to make him fall over? Does it have to be? I mean, they're clearly checking something here. I said initially I didn't think it was enough to give a penalty, but two hands on the back is always dangerous in the penalty area. Changes
for Newcastle as Alexander Isak, who gave them the lead here tonight, comes off. Bruno Guimaraes into action. Joe Willock also taken off by Eddie Howe. William Osula comes on, player who's had limited opportunities, a player Newcastle really think has great potential. A player they've been honest enough to say needs plenty of work as well, but he's a big lad and he's going to pose some problems here for Chelsea's defence. We saw at the weekend, Christopher Nkunku went down inside the penalty area after Dan Burn made contact with him. Initially that was given, it was overturned by VAR. Chelsea were asking the question, where again meant Madueke went down, but contact by Anthony Gordon deemed within the rules by referee Chris Kavanagh. And Chelsea probing, pushing, asking questions, but they haven't found a way through as of yet. Mudryk deceives Joelinton there, who gives away the free kick.
Yeah, positive play for Mudryk. Little step over, brought down, free kick.
Chelsea looking to get on with business quickly, but of course don't have too much time to work with here, and they've got themselves a corner. Mudryk still down, and interesting that Chelsea were allowed to get on with the game there, because Ben Chilwell, one of the Chelsea substitutes, was on the pitch with Mykhailo Mudryk. You could see why the crowd were whistling and they weren't happy, but Chelsea were allowed to get on with the game. They've got players forward here waiting for a ball into the box, which comes in now. Joelinton gets his head to it. The ball, though, had already travelled out of play, so Chelsea will have a corner here. Plenty of the game, much of the game, being played in the Newcastle half of the pitch.
Yeah, we thought that would happen, didn't we? Chelsea come out, they played a lot better in this second half, really having a go. Madueke's come on, made a difference already.
Fizzed into the front post. Goes into the side netting. The final touch was a Newcastle touch. Now posing problems from these situations. Cluster of players at the back post this time. It's hoisted high, and it's a good, clean, decisive claim from Nick Pope.
Yeah, that would have been the one that Nick Pope would have been buzzing with. Just lofted up there. Easy catch for him. That congesting 6-yard box, you need one whipped in. They've been doing it really well, Chelsea, and not that one.
Eddie Howe pacing around his technical area. He knows there could be some nervy moments to negotiate still here this evening. There's Maresca on his side. They're asking questions, but Newcastle standing firm, being resolute. Lovely turn by Madueke. Deceives Lewis Hall. Sends in the cross, but a cross which is delivered too deep and out of the reach of Mykhailo Mudryk. Cucurella, though, finds Enzo Fernandez. I'd appreciate the efforts of Ursula. Attacking options, of course, for Newcastle are so limited. Callum Wilson has barely featured this season, not available for them right now. Possession stole back and stolen back well. Newcastle will look to counter here. Ursula makes his move, but Tosin steps across.
Just neither one, was it, from Guimaraes, Ursula or Anthony Gordon? I think they both thought it was for one another. Both kind of stopped running in the end, but there was an opportunity there for a counter-attack.
Those will be the kind of situations that Newcastle will look to profit from, because they know they're going to have to do a lot of defending in this game. As things stand, it will be Newcastle's name in the hat for the quarter-final draw later this evening. Enzo Fernandez flights one out to find Madueke. Chelsea perhaps just need to do things a touch more quickly here to try and open up Newcastle, because their shape's been very good in this second half.
Yeah, defending really well, you've just said it, Bish, and they have to come up with something, Chelsea. At the moment they can't, they're creating a little bit. I think you've got to get it out to Madueke a little bit more. Fantastic turn he showed a second ago. He's the danger man at the moment.
Cole Palmer still on the Chelsea bench. Will Enzo Maresca turn to him at some stage this evening? Mudryk. Nkunku. Enzo Fernandez clips one in, dealt with by Lloyd Kelly. Possession given away by Lewis Hall. In comes the cross. Mudryk attacks it. Can't quite make anything of it. All a bit scrappy inside the Newcastle box in a situation that required Nick Pope to act decisively, and he did just that.
Yeah, bit sloppy, Lewis Hall. Anthony Gordon made the run forward. He thought he was coming to feet. It was stolen in there, and it was a good delivery, but they just can't. That final piece, that final delivery in and around the box, that final shot, they're just not getting it quite right, Chelsea. Glimpses though.
24 touches in the opposition box tonight for Chelsea. 13 so far for Newcastle, who did their work swiftly in the first half to establish a 2-goal lead. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes to turn the contest in their favour. Here's Cucurella. Badiashile. Newcastle in the Premier League this season are just one of 3 teams that haven't dropped points from a winning position. So they have some resolve, but also been too many occasions when they've got themselves into winning positions or grabbed the first goal in a game. Ball back to Pope. Different approach from Newcastle. Nick Pope happy to just send that ball out of harm's way, and Newcastle will have a throw here.
Yeah, sometimes we said that, didn't we, with Jurgensen in the first half. It's needed. Just clear the danger, get it as far away as you can. I mean, Newcastle are putting 10 players behind the ball with Ursula as the furthest player forward, and it's hard to break down. Chelsea have to come up with something. Struggling at the moment, aren't they?
Plenty of the ball. Their grip on possession grows and grows in this game, but Newcastle seem relatively comfortable with it right now. Clear-cut chances, heart-in-mouth moments have been few and far between. Chelsea just lacking a bit of cut and thrust in the final third. Joel Linton does well. Such a big player for Newcastle when he's fit. He's featured in every game so far this season, and he does really well there, helped on by Longstaff to find Tonali. We can see Newcastle about to make a change with former Chelsea player Tino Livramento set to come on. Can Newcastle kill off this contest and find a third? Touched away by Tosin. Joao Felix will give chase, but Lloyd Kelly steps in. He's had a good night so far, Lloyd Kelly, and he wins Newcastle a free kick here.
Yeah, he's been solid. Lloyd Kelly, some great blocks in the first half. Good defending there, some strength. Won his team a free kick. When they've been under a little bit of pressure, that's all you need. Just win a free kick.
Lewis Hall is going to be replaced here, so it is one former Chelsea Academy graduate for another. As Tino Livramento enters the fray. Dan Burn is going to come on for Newcastle as well as they look to see this through. And they've played 11 games in all competitions so far this season, Newcastle, and they've only conceded 2 goals or more in a game on 2 occasions. One of those occasions, of course, was just 3 days ago at Stamford Bridge. Anthony Gordon's night is over as well, and those two are going to take plenty of applause as they work their way around the perimeter of the pitch. Worked hard tonight, Anthony Gordon set the tone really for Newcastle in those opening minutes. That hard work that he did, pressing and pressing and pressing Chelsea and putting them in difficult situations.
Yeah, good night all round for Anthony Gordon. He'll be sitting there now watching his team, hoping that they can see this one over the line, because he's played his part. It was a big miss at the weekend against Chelsea. He played his part tonight, as you said, high press, worked extremely hard. Good night.
One thing that William Masula offers you is a target and a get-out ball, and he draws the foul from Badiashile. From Sheffield United in the summer, William Masula hasn't scored too many goals so far in his young career, but Newcastle have really high hopes for him. The times this season when he really has to step up with the injury issues with Callum Wilson. Of course, Alexander Isak has missed a fair few games in his time on Tyneside as well. Free kick for Newcastle to be taken by Tonali. Drops it in really nicely into the penalty area. Header back across goal! And Sean Longstaff thought that he'd wrapped it up, but it's not going to stand. The offside flag raised. Newcastle thought they were on their way to the quarter-finals. But that 3-goal lead doesn't come. Chelsea just about still in this game.
Yeah, played the high line perfectly, you'd have to say, but I mean, it was poor defending to allow that to happen. But the offside flag was immediately up. We haven't seen a replay just yet, but it was immediately up, and he looked to be offside on the initial one.
Sean Longstaff denied his first goal of the season. Chipped in with 8 last year in all competitions. Impressive return from him, but it's going to be about his defensive duties here tonight. And Joao Felix is in for Chelsea, but he nudges it wide of the post. How different this final 15 minutes could have looked if Joao Felix had managed to poke that in.
Yeah, he's let him off the hook. Joao Felix let Newcastle off the hook. Dan Burn just tried to stretch, and it's very similar to the Isak one. Little bit of a wider angle, just tried to chip it over Nick Pope, wrong side of the post. And as you said, this could have been so much different.
It could have been so much different a few moments before, because the game could have been wrapped up for Newcastle, but this goal ruled out for offside. Less than 15 minutes to play here at St James's Park. Livramento works the 1-2, but it's pushed just a little too far in front of him. He's a really good player coming through at Chelsea, Tino Livramento, but Chelsea was stacked up in those full-back positions. Never got his chance, and he's had to deal with injury problems as well, of course. He had that ACL injury at Southampton. Newcastle paying plenty of money to bring him here. Just has to avoid injuries, really, because he's a player of huge promise.
Yeah, I'm impressed every time I watch Livramento play. Strong, powerful, positioning really well as well. He's got a huge future ahead of him, but as you said, the injury and just trying to break into this team. But every time I've seen him play, I've been very impressed.
It's 13 months, that injury that he picked up in 2022, but he's really been involved this season under Eddie Howe. Played in every single game in all competitions as Guimaraes manages to win Newcastle a free kick, and it was a free kick that they considered taking quickly there. Newcastle also happy to take their time. Pope pushes it out to find Fabian Schär. Sula does really well to hold off Badiashile. Guimaraes under pressure from João Felix. Good physicality by the Brazilian, who works it out wide. How annoying is that when an opposition pair of players do that to you?
Yeah, it is annoying. It gets on. It frustrates you, of course. But again, it's down to Chelsea to stop that happening and create something. Time's running out, we said. They've got to really start pushing. I'm wondering whether we will see their star man, Cole Palmer, come on in the last few moments.
He's a player that can make a difference quickly. We saw that for England in the summer at the European Championships, but he's not going to have too much time to work with. Of course, Enzo Maresca does have this cup team that he's turned to this season, and he's only dipped down into his bench once so far this evening. Enzo Fernandez managing to work his way out of a sticky situation there. I'm surprised that we haven't seen more changes from Enzo Maresca, given we're now just 12 minutes away from the 90.
Well, I mean, a lot of games coming up for Chelsea. They're Man United on Sunday as well. Huge game for them, and they're going so well in the Premier League. I think he's clearly got a priority or priorities, and that's his prerogative, of course, and making 11 changes. He has brought on Madueke, who has made a difference since his arrival. So I'm not really surprised.
Chelsea need to act quickly if they are to remain in this competition this season. Their hopes are fading. It was a really good run there by Madueke, which wasn't spotted, and he's furious he wasn't found. But now João Felix able to turn. Cucurella declines the option of Mudryk. Vega. Chelsea having to go backwards before they can look to go forward again.
Such a contrast in styles of play from the first to the second from Newcastle. They've really dropped 10, 15 yards to a player. But that's just saying, come and break us down. At the moment, Chelsea aren't doing it.
Work themselves into a good position here tonight, Newcastle United. And they're edging closer and closer to progressing in the Carabao Cup. Badiashile finds Cucurella. Nkunku hooks it on to find João Felix, who was unable to bring it under control. Now Bruno Guimaraes, well, he's got no one ahead of him, does really well, wins the free kick.
There's not enough movement in front of Badiashile. We just watched it there, we had a perfect view of it. There's not enough movement from his players. They're all facing him, all wanting the ball to feet. Only Noni Madueke really is the one trying to run in behind, but it's so difficult to play that pass when the shape is so good from Newcastle.
It's a big night in the Carabao Cup, some really big clashes, and it's opportunity for Newcastle United in this situation. Madueke, Enzo Fernandez, Clips in the cross, it's over Cucurella. Longstaff shows some composure on the edge of his area, and yet again Guimaraes rides the challenge. But it's a challenge. I think he's going to be punished here by Chris Kavanagh. He's stopped play. Enzo Fernandez is down.
I think it was a flailing arm by Guimaraes. I initially thought it was fantastic play, calm. If you just see here, he just catches him in the face with his palm of his left hand.
Brazil against Argentina. So it is going to be a drop ball. Play stopped because of a head injury to Enzo Fernandez. These things stand here tonight and it can all change in the games going on elsewhere. Manchester City find themselves in a losing position, as too to Brighton, as too to Aston Villa. Of course, should Newcastle progress, they'll have to deal then with the excitement around the competition. We saw it affect them a bit in the Premier League last time when they reached the final of the competition. Had a few struggles for results in the league going into that game, but Eddie Howe can worry about that another day as another ball comes into the area. Nodded down by Cucurella. No nonsense clearance, but it's going to come back once again.
I mean, at the moment they're just not creating enough, Chelsea, are they, to get themselves back in. That one from João Felix that he just put wide of the post. Other than that, not much coming from the forward players. Too static at the moment. Not enough movement to try and get themselves back into this game.
Newcastle seem happy to set themselves the way that they are in this second half, as we see Cole Palmer still watching on from the bench. It's been over half an hour now since Newcastle had a shot at goal in this game. Lewis Hall's effort all the way back in the 50th minute. It looks as if they're managing this scenario very nicely indeed.
I mean, it didn't look like we was going to be seeing Cole Palmer anytime soon. He looked very comfortable, albeit probably looked a bit frustrated.
Of course, he's not involved in their Conference League squad, but probably would have hoped that, having come all the way up to Newcastle, he would have been involved at some stage tonight. Masula, good footwork to get the better of Cucurella, and he strikes the post. Inches away from putting this game on ice for Newcastle United.
Lovely forward play by Asula. I thought initially the pass was going to go to the left-hand side for Guimaraes, but it didn't. Good turn there, look, and he played a wonderful ball, cut inside, great shot with his left foot, just on the outside of the post. Good forward play.
There is a glimpse at why Newcastle feel that young man has plenty of potential. Of course, it was a frustrating summer for Newcastle as they struggled to find the additions that they wanted for their squad. Cucurella. Newcastle keeping the door closed on Nkunku. Mudryk, who's perhaps just drifted out of the game in the last 10 or 15 minutes, sends in a cross which Fabian Schär is able to get his head on. Angel Linton backed up towards his corner flag here. Guimaraes is so confident in possession, isn't he? And Newcastle play it so well. Frustration for João Felix, who just fell for it, really. Free kick for Newcastle.
He's a wonderful football player, Bruno Guimaraes, isn't he? In those tight positions there, he comfortably gets out of it, wins his team a free kick. But we see there again, the ball was wide. I think it was with Cucurella, and all 11 Newcastle players were behind the ball. It's come and break us down, and they're not doing enough, Chelsea, at the moment.
Frustrations starting to seep in for Enzo Maresca's team. They have less than 5 minutes of the 90 now to save themselves. Domestically, they've only been beaten by Manchester City and Liverpool so far this season. Did suffer a defeat against Servette as well in the second leg of their Conference League playoff, but they, of course, went through into the group stages of that competition. Guimaraes again. Livramento, Cucurella still working so hard. He has real energy, hasn't he, Mark Cucurella? Found the going tough initially at Chelsea as well. Struggled to settle into the side. Livramento not happy with that challenge. We saw his burst across the pitch, which played a huge part in Newcastle's goal at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. A move which saw 7 players involved in Alexander Isak's goal. Possession cheaply given away. Cucurella, he can't make the most of it, and Newcastle are back on the ball. Livramento, 3 runners up with him. And fed forwards, looking to find Joelinton. The angle, though, not quite right on it.
Just overhit it, so close, Livramento. Sula made a great run to create the opportunity for him to just try and slide it in behind for Joelinton. But look at him now, they're working extremely hard to get back behind the ball. Because I do like Livramento, those powerful runs forward. Almost got it right.
Joined Chelsea at the age of 9, Tino Livramento, but he never got to make an appearance for the first team. Madueke. Again, it's slow from Chelsea. Newcastle have rarely been knocked out of their shape in this second half. Mudryk faced up by Livramento. Mudryk beats Livramento. Ball to the back post and just out of the reach of Madueke, but it's going to come back in once again. Cucurella rising. Doesn't get the contact he was hoping for, and a few more seconds will tick off the clock here for Newcastle United.
Just not doing enough. They're creating opportunities, just not enough. The final ball, final delivery. I mean, the initial one from Mudryk, it's clever play from Joelinton, just nudge Madueke in the back just before he was going to jump. Then Disasi crossing the box. It's all a little bit too easy for Newcastle to defend.
Those fans are starting to believe even more that perhaps that wait for a trophy could end this season. There will be 2 games from another day out at Wembley if they can get through these final moments here tonight. Longstaff had a really good game for Newcastle. There'll be calls for him to be in that Premier League lineup at the weekend. It's a good burst forwards here. Livramento, can he pick someone out? He rolls it back to find Guimaraes, who for once his touch lets him down. Tonali, Newcastle have the ball where they want it as the clock moves towards 90. Longstaff, he's got room here, looks to clip in the cross. Big deflection. Corner though is prevented.
Yeah, once again, Guimaraes, a lovely player. Again, just that last touch. Don't know what he was trying, but he's in those little tight positions, he's fantastic. And Livramento with a great reverse pass back into him. If he hits that first time, he's got an opportunity, but the confidence he has, tried to take a touch, just got that wrong.
And Chelsea running out of hope here, and seems as if they're running out of ideas as well. Enzo Fernandez, they have to move quickly, and he's found Madueke here, and the game's as stretched as it has been in the Newcastle half in this second period. Madueke is going to take it on himself, sees his shot charged down, no free kick coming. Ambitious attempt, clean strike, and a good push away from Nick Pope to deny Renato Vega.
Yeah, they'll be happy with this, Newcastle. Shots from 20, 25, 30 yards out. It's not a comfortable save, but he does it. He makes a good, pushes it away well. You see the little bit of swerve towards the end, pushes it away from danger as he did in the first half.
So all eyes now upon Thomas Bramall, the 4th official. How much time will be added on at the end of this game? Just 3 minutes. That is the news that Newcastle fans wanted to hear. Not many games you get with such little stoppage time these days. No one goes to press Nick Pope here as he can eat some seconds off the clock. João Felix takes it upon himself to just hurry the Newcastle goalkeeper here. It looks like being a very good night for Newcastle United.
It looks to be, as we said, in the 91st minute, just over 2 minutes to go. And I think they played it particularly well. First half, high press. They knew that Chelsea would want the ball, high press, and won it high up the pitch and scored 2 really good goals. Obviously Disasi with the unfortunate one. And then second half they've just said, come and break us down, and they haven't been able to do it, Chelsea.
If they see this through, Newcastle, nobody is going to want to come here for a quarter-final, that is for sure. Ball clip forward, Nick Pope just shepherds it out of play. Newcastle fans have voiced the odd frustration and complaint that Sandro Tonali has been taken off in games recently, but I think this one is being done deliberately here by Eddie Howe. Huge applause for Sandro Tonali, an effective night from him in midfield.
Yeah, worked extremely hard, some good touches of the ball, exactly what you want, and as you said, Eddie Howe's done this deliberately to give him a standing ovation, and rightly so.
And not just that as well, the first appearance of the season for young Lewis Miley, back from injury, player who made a real impression last season.
Yep.
Eddie Howe saying how impressed he's been with him as well, feels he's really filled out in his time off, says technically we all know he's brilliant, but as he gets older and becomes more of an athlete, he's going to be some player, and he's a player that is much loved here on Tyneside. A player who has a real future ahead of him, it seems.
Yeah, and they appreciate those players up in the northeast. Support has been brilliant today, and has to be said, Chelsea supporters as well, been outstanding, singing all throughout the game. Long way to go, stuck with their side.
And we've got plenty of big days to come as well, and they'll be at Old Trafford at the weekend to take on Manchester United. Who knows who might be leading Manchester United going into that game, as Newcastle look to end this game in style. Powerful surge forward, roll to Livramento. His cross though cut out by Cucurella. Sean Linton full of energy right into the 93rd minute. There can only be seconds remaining here. Newcastle United are through to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. A brilliant night for Eddie Howe and his team. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes in the first half, taking them through to the last 8 of the competition. Alexander Isak striking against Chelsea once again, and then just 3 minutes later the lead was doubled. An unfortunate moment for Axel Disasi, as he couldn't do anything other than turn the ball into his own net. It was a frustrating night for a Chelsea team which saw 11 changes from the weekend. But feeling will be building on Tyneside that perhaps, just perhaps, this might be the year when that long wait for a trophy for Newcastle United comes to an end. They were businesslike tonight, they were ruthless tonight to see off Enzo Maresca's team. They've had a fine start to the season, and they will continue to challenge at the top end of the Premier League. But it's a night of celebration for Newcastle United, who are now just 2 steps away from a trip to Wembley. Full-time at St James's Park. It finishes Newcastle United 2, Chelsea 0. So a brilliant night for Newcastle United, Darren. Ruthless in front of goal in the first half, really capitalising on mistakes that they forced from Chelsea, and then we saw a completely different approach from them in the second half to see it through.
Yes, Eddie Howe got the game plan perfect, and Enzo Maresca didn't, it has to be said. First half, they knew what they were going to bring Chelsea, and they caught them high up the pitch, and when it fell into Isak right in front of goal, you knew it was going to be a goal. The second one, Isak was allowed too much room, crossed it in, got a little bit of luck with a deflection, and Disasi just couldn't organise his feet. But second half, again, at half-time, he got his game plan perfect. Much better from Chelsea in the second half, just couldn't break them down. Newcastle sat all 10, 11 players behind the ball, and they just couldn't break them down. They had the one with João Felix where he just put it wide. Noni Madueke come on, done a few good things, a few nice touches, but nothing else. It was quite easy, quite comfortable evening for Newcastle.
Newcastle perhaps have just got the kickstart to their season that they needed. For Chelsea, though, if we reflect on them, they came here and made 11 changes tonight. Was that perhaps too many changes? There's a big squad, plenty of players to try and keep happy, but this was a real test coming to St James's Park tonight. I think, as you suggested in the commentary, there are priorities perhaps for Chelsea, and there's other competitions that they see higher up the list.
Yeah, I think he's shown that, Enzo Maresca, tonight, making 11 changes initially and only making the one substitute with Noni Madueke coming on for Dewsbury Hall. Other than that, I think the star player, Cole Palmer, sat on the bench, didn't make an appearance. They've gone a long way up there. They've given an opportunity to 11 new players. I think they've done okay, but just didn't do enough to break down a strong Newcastle side.
Chelsea will turn their attentions back to the Premier League, where they find themselves 5th right now. At the weekend, they'll go to Old Trafford to take on Manchester United. Newcastle, well, they'll be back here in 3 days to take on Arsenal. But they'll go into that game with real confidence after this result here this evening. Well, there we can see the theme of the game in the numbers that you see. Chelsea, nearly 66% of the ball here this evening. 17 attempts at goal they had as well. But just look at those numbers from Newcastle. 9 blocks, 22 clearances. That was the game they turned it into after half-time, when they were happy to protect the lead that they had. Good passing accuracy from Chelsea, but it is something that you will see from them with the style of play that they had. But it was the times they surrendered possession in the first half which played them into problems. Plenty of challenges flying in. It spilled over on one occasion in the second half, on a night on which Newcastle had 4 players' names taken by the referee.